There's so many reasons why we just can't do the math. There's just too many. One of them is maybe you didn't have the exposure. Another one could be that when you were first introduced to it, it wasn't like a gentle introduction like some teachers will do, working with the progression. Or it could just simply you weren't there for the original experience. A lot of things happened during COVID, but a lot of things happened prior to COVID. There was a lot of students that were missing days because they had to take care of the younger siblings or they had to take care of the ill mother or grandmother. And there was a lot of days that a lot of kids just said, I don't want to do it. I just rather sit around and get high all day. Or there's a lot of kids that actually had to work late nights in order for them to help pay bills. A lot of people had to make a lot of decisions. So when it came to school, and especially if they had math first period, a lot of kids lost a lot of time and they couldn't afford to go to summer school. So what happens? They're then to repeat the course and repeat the course. And after they were supposed to repeat it twice, a lot of them just easily just drop out. Or it gets to the point where how can I catch up? Because no matter what I do, I have to pay for it. So what happens here is I'm here to break down those concepts. Earlier today, I did fractions. Yesterday, I did decimals. Now I'm just going to do a cluster of exponents. Those are the areas that a lot of people easily make small mistakes, but didn't have someone to help them to make that correction. So what happens? You learned it incorrectly. So that's what we're going to be doing today. If you're wondering who this chick is, my name is Audrey Codner, and I'm the owner of Math by Audrey and ACG Math Tutoring. I was a classroom teacher for 22 years, so I do have a degree, even though some of you guys may think I don't, and I've just completed my 6th year of online tutoring. So I have seen, not only just in my state of Maryland, but I've seen some things in Florida, California, Texas, Maine, Vermont, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. I mean, if you need help with the regions, especially the Algebra one, I have a couple success stories for that, as well as California, Puerto Rico, Alaska, Nairobi, Kenya, Cairo, Egypt. I'm everywhere. So what I do is I break down these concepts, especially for those people that are going back to school. You haven't seen these on a daily basis. So you're going to need some assistance because now that you're going to be taking your GED, your ASVAB, or your Accuplacer, or TEAS test, or any kind of standardized test, you're using knowledge that you learned years ago. Not weeks, not months, years. Definitely 5+. Okay? And that's why you're stumbling, because you're trying to retract a memory of things that happened in the yesteryear. So now we're going to try to do a refresher. Try to calm that math trauma and that math anxiety so you can get the job done, which is to pass the test. All right, so let's get with our very first one and let's get started. So taking a look at this, what do you think is the answer? If you think you already know the answer, go ahead and put it in the comments. If you're not sure, put a question mark. And I would love to get more than 20% participation. If you're going to be on this platform with me, you're going to need to participate, because that's how you're going to learn, not just watching me like some kind of freak. Thank you. Hello, Mel. Mel, I'm sorry I snapped at you earlier because life is just be lifing. I'll see if I can talk to you later. All right. All right. MM is saying 6. Nusa is saying 8x cubed. Okay, Juan, thank you for your honesty, because I know you're not. No, it's not okay. Thank you for your honesty, Juan, because I know there's a lot more people that are just like, I don't even know where to go with this. Okay? Alright. Okay, can I get one more? Okay, thank you, MM. Go ahead and make the correction. Okay. So while we wait for MM to make her correction, is there anyone else that want to put an answer in or a question mark in so we can get that? All right, Jojo, thank you so much with the 8x cubed. All right, what do you think? Because I like to give people opportunity when they're like, oh, wait, oh, goodness, no, that's not the answer. Don't even worry about the superscript if you can't find it. I'll understand if you just type in whatever's supposed to be the exponent. Okay, Sam is saying 8x cubed. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate you. Okay, thanks for the follow, JoJo. Okay, that's all right. No, don't even try that, It's perfectly fine. Okay, so now we can address this one of two ways. This 2x, notice it's inside parentheses. That's representing your base. The 3 is representing your exponent. So the 3's job is to tell the base how many times it's going to multiply itself. Okay, so we can think of it this way, which if you're multiplying, if you kind of remember the rules, when you're multiplying, you're making things bigger. So that means you're going to be adding the exponents. If you don't see an exponent, it's assumed to be a 1. So I have 1 plus 1 plus 1. That means my exponent is going to be to the 3rd power. But I need to multiply my coefficients. So 2 times 2 gives me 4, and that answer of 4 times 2 gives me 8. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is dealing with the product, okay, being raised to an exponent. Now, power to a power. So that means everything inside of that parenthesis is being raised to the 3rd power. So it's almost like distributive property. So 2 to the 3rd power is not 6 because we're not multiplying 2 times 3. This means 2 times 2 times 2. I'm multiplying the base to itself 3 times. That's where your 8 is going to come from. And now we can bring down our x cubed. Notice we get the same solution 2 different ways. So you figure out which way works best for you, knowing the property or doing the actual what exponents are supposed to do. All right, so that's 1. Let's keep it with the same trend. What do you think for this one? Thanks so much for the follows, guys. Thank you. So if you think you have it, write it down. Okay? This is the best place. If the things go wrong, that's all right. You get to live another day. Okay? We make the corrections. We're not perfect, guys. We're not. So we have to learn from our mistakes, tweak it, and then move on. Okay? So if you're not sure where to go, where to start, put a question mark. It'll let me know that how much time do I need to break things down. All right? So we have Donkey Town. I see you. I see you. Nathan, I see you. I'm not sure what that is. Is that me? Me test me? I don't know. Okay, but I see you. All right, Sleepyhead. Okay, I see you as well. Let's take a look. Similar to what we did a little earlier. Okay, G, I see you. Thank you. Similar to what we did earlier. Again, my base is going to be the negative 4y. The exponent is to the 3rd power. So it's telling me I need to write that base out 3 times. Okay? So now, for when I'm multiplying, that means I'm adding the exponents. If you don't see a number representing the exponent, it's assumed to be a 1. So when I add the exponents, I'm going to get y to the third, because 1 plus 1 plus 1 gives me 3. Okay, good. So now, a negative, all right, Mel, I see you, good. A negative times a negative times a negative. So we know a negative times a negative gives me a positive. So I'm going to get a positive 16, because 4 times 4 gives me 16. But now that positive 16 needs to be multiplied by a negative 4. So when we have a negative times a positive, when the signs are opposite, our answer is going to be negative. And then 16 times 4 gives me 64. Okay? So this will be our answer. That's one way. Another way is to basically raise everything inside the parenthesis to that third power. So negative 4 to the third power. So that's negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4, just like what we did right here. Anytime you have a negative coefficient or a negative constant and my exponent is odd, my answer is always going to be negative. Then 4 to the third power, which isn't 12, which I'm really grateful you guys did that. So it's 4 times 4 times 4, that gives me 64. And then y raised to the third power. If you don't see an exponent, it's assumed here is a 1. What's actually happening right here is you're multiplying the exponents. So 1 times 3 gives me 3. Two different ways, same result. Okay? Hey, Big Al. Alright? I see you, Brenda. Okay? So this is what you're doing as you're breaking concepts down. Okay? This is what we have to kick into effect. When you're multiplying, you're adding the exponents. Okay? When you have a power being raised to a power, like we have here, you multiply your exponents. Zion, it could be, there's so many different things. It could be in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, all the way up to college. Okay? I can't put a specific, I can tell you that it's algebra. So it all depends on when your kid is getting algebra. Are they getting algebra in 6th grade, like some of our advanced kids? Or some of them are getting it in 7th grade. Some people are getting it in 9th grade. So it all depends on what is their academic path. Okay? But it's definitely shown in algebra. Okay? Thank you, Anne. Appreciate it. Yep. So all of these are coming from my books. These little flashcards that I'm doing, I actually created them. So it'll be great if you have homeschoolers, if you want to do some reviews. Okay, forgot to show the back of it. So this is the back of that second problem. Okay, and the first problem, that was the back of the others. So you can actually have these to kind of help teach. Okay, if you're interested in it, hey, go ahead and you can either send me a message or you can go on my Stan store, which is in my profile. Alright, so let's keep going. What do we get for this? What do we get for this? Okay, Young King, thank you so much for the rose. I appreciate you. Okay, Shar, I see you. Jay, I see you. Di, I see you. Okay. Hey, user, how are you? Welcome back. Okay, I do see you. Anastasia, I see you. M, I see you. Okay. Trying to understand a little bit, John. Oh, I think I know what you're doing. Okay. Okay, Big J, I see you. How you doing? All right. Useful title. I know. I'm at that point. All right. So I'm seeing a lot of things. Brenda, I see you. Okay. Is that Dana? Not Dana? Okay. I see you. All right. Okay. So careful, because these are exponents. What's different from the other ones? We have a fraction bar. Fraction bar means division. So what we could do, we could write out 3 sevens, threes. We can write out 3 7 times at the top. We could write 3 5 times at the bottom. But we are not multiplying these two. Okay, it's not going to be 21 over 15. This is an exponent. This is telling me that I need to multiply this base 3 times. But here's the thing. Again, I'm going to show you both ways. So we have 1, okay, so we have 7 3's being multiplied as a numerator. And we have 5 3's being multiplied in the denominator. So when we do our regular division, I know 3 divided by 3 will give me 1. So 3 divided by 3 will give me 1. So that means these can cancel out. And we know that 1 divided by 1 is going to be 1. But what's left? Okay? Hey, MG. What's left is 2 3's. Another way of saying 2 3's is 3 squared. And what's 3 squared? Richard, today is just not the day. Okay, go ahead and push off. It's just not today. So 3 squared is the same as saying 3 times 3. And what's 3 times 3? 3 times 3 is 9. Okay? Upside down 6. There you go. So this is what's happening. When you have your 3 sevenths divided by your 3 fifths, if they're the same base, you're subtracting your exponents. So 3 raised to the 2 minus 5, that's the same as saying 3 to the second power. And 3 to the second power, that gives you 9. No. Not 3 over 3 squared. So you're actually subtracting. You always start from the numerator, the exponent of the numerator minus the exponent of the denominator. Okay. Alright. So, flipping over, that's exactly what we're doing. If we want to simplify it further, that's where our 9 will come from. Again, you're going to have to take a look to see what's going on with the actual test. So if you're looking at the actual test and you're just like, oh, well, it's not giving me single digits, it's giving me like a simplified expression, well then click it, bubble it, continue on. All right? Like the second method? Okay, awesome. Because trust me, this is what's called the expanded form. Now, the expanded form is what I use to teach it. But to implement and to apply, I expect this short advanced form. Okay? This takes less time. But that requires you to remember that when you're dividing, you're subtracting the exponents. Okay? All right. Let's try another one. Try this one. Well, if you do one with different number bases, you can't simplify it unless you will put it in its natural state, which is its whole number state. That's the only way. You can't do adding or subtracting the exponents when the bases are different. Okay. I think that's Brownsing. Okay. All right. So my capital T is saying 8 to the 4th. Big Al is saying 8 to the 4th. A is the 8 to the 4th. John's 8 to the 4th. Okay. All right. Okay. Pansexual is saying 64 times 64. Okay. How would you get that? Okay. All right. 8 is by itself. Yes. Plus, well, 8 to the 5th power is not 64. So it's not going to be 64. 8 squared is 64. Okay. Okay, is that Mercediado? Ooh, sorry if I butchered your name. 8 to the 4th. Okay, Marilyn saying 8 to the 5th. Sid saying 8 to the 4th. Let's all saying 2 raised to the 12th when simplified. Interesting. Okay. We're getting our 4,096. All right. Let's take a look. So, we have 5 8s in the numerator. So that's 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 times 8. That's what's in the numerator, the expanded form. In the denominator, there's just 1 8. So what happens? 8 divided by 8 gives me 1. So what's left over? There's 4 8s. Okay? And where are they? They're in the numerator. So it's basically 8 raised to the 4th power. Okay? So we know, okay, I think this is where you were coming from, pansexual. I think this is where you were talking about. The 64 times 64. I think that's where you were coming from. Okay. So I do apologize. Now I see what you're talking about. So it is multiplication if you break it down. So which that will give us a 4096. Okay? If you're wondering, how would I do this? That was the extended form. How would I do this with the condensed form? Well, we have a factor bar, so that means we're dividing. If we're dividing, that means we're subtracting the exponent. But what's problem here is you're like, well, there's no exponent here. Yes, there is. It's assumed to be a 1. So what's happening is you have the same base, which is the 8. You're going to subtract your exponents. So that gives you 5 minus 1. Because if you don't see an exponent, it's always assumed to be a 1. Okay? So now that will give you 8 to the 4th, or you can get your 4096. Okay? 2 different ways, same results. Take a flip. I just kept it with the 8/4. Okay? How are we feeling? So when you are, how'd you get 512? Make sure you're multiplying 8 times 8 times 8. So 64 times 64. That's definitely more than 500. Okay. Thanks, gorgeous. All right. So we're basically looking at it step by step. Do we have to do it this way every time? No. But if that makes sense to you right now, awesome. Okay? Because you have to figure out. Okay. You have to figure out which method works best for you, because you're going to be the one that's taking the test. Not me, not Sally, not Big Al, not your mother, not your grandfather. You're going to be the one that's going to be doing it. Are you required to do the multiplication? It's going to depend on the test. Now, here's my thing. ASVAB, probably not. ASVAB will probably stop here because you can't have a calculator with you. And you're basically given 1 minute per problem. Accuplacer, they might put it there here and there, but you won't be able to use a calculator for that either. So for the GED, they're starting to have calculators for certain sections. Okay, I know here in Maryland it's for certain sections, but you don't want to always rely on there. Hello, my tutor. How am I? You know. You want me to take it? Yeah, I should do. Okay. It's 7th grade math? Okay, bro. If you read the description, this is for people that haven't been in school for a long time. So if this is not your place, I greatly appreciate you putting it there. But because you made a comment, guess what? I'm going to be on your algorithm. So what's up, cousin? All right. So just because it's easy for you doesn't necessarily mean it's easy for everyone. The world is not completely about you. All right? Okay. Scroll on. All right. Yes. Okay. Indian or nothing. Hello. Welcome in. All right. There we go. A college. There you go. All right. All right. Let's take a look at this one. Today's just not the day. I'm not at a 10. But, you know, I'm pretty up there. Pretty up there. But we can do this. Okay? We can do this. What do you think? Okay. And here's my thing. I love, who said that? I'm going to bring that up. I'm sorry, I'm going to pin somebody. Taylor, you hit the nail on the head. Because a lot of people feel exactly the same way. Math is its own language. It's only because of the schools trying to intermingle it with everything else. Hence, that's why you got problems with word problems. That's why they're always putting like a huge amount of stuff like history stuff in there, putting some science stuff mixed in there. And then they're trying to like make things fit. And it doesn't fit. That's part of the problem why you're confused. Because math is its own language. And it's universal. No matter where you're at, 2 plus 2, 2 times 2, 2 squared, it still gives you 4. All around the world. So as soon as people understand that, oh, this should count as math and language credit, if I may put it in. So, like real, seriously. Because it is its own entity. So you're not crazy for thinking that. So thank you, Taylor, for putting that in. Thank you for typing that. Okay? Yup. Exactly. So, here's my thing. I'm seeing some 16s. I'm seeing some 8s. All right. Okay. Oh, there she is. Okay. When I distribute the 4, yes, exactly. So let's not do the expanded form with this. Let's practice using the property. Okay. So everything inside of this parenthesis is being raised to the 4th power. So that means the 2 is being raised to the 4th power. The x is being raised to the 4th power, and well as the y cubed is being raised to the 4th power. So now we have to be careful. 2 to the 4th power is not the same as 2 times 4. 2 to the 4th power means you're multiplying this base of 2 4 times. So it's going to look like this. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay? 2 times 2, that gives me 4. Okay? 4 here and a 4 here. 4 times 4 gives me 16. Notice how it funnels down. Okay, so we're going to replace that 2 to the 4th with a 16. Now, x to the 4th power. So that means this x has an exponent of 1. When I see a exponent, a parenthesis raised to an exponent, I'm multiplying my exponents. So 1 times 4 gives me 4. So that gives me x to the 4th. Okay? Alright, don't forget the x to the 4ths. Now, y to the 3rd raised to the 4th. I have an exponent, parenthesis, exponent. That means I'm multiplying these two. So 3 times 4, that gives me 12. So y to the 12th. This is our answer. Let's flip it. And there's the breakdown. Okay. When you multiply, you add the exponents. But when you have a power being raised to a power, you multiply the exponents. Okay? If it said y to the 3rd times y to the 4th, that's when you add the exponents. Yep, it's to the power. There you go, Louise. Okay? Alright. Okay, so these are the reasons why I created these flashcards. Okay, so you can try to do one problem on one side, flip it, you get the answer on the other side. It's great for teachers, it's great for tutors, it's great for homeschooling, all of that. Okay, so let's try this one. Give that one a try. The power of math. I know, Robert, universal. And I should just be, one, very grateful for everyone stopping in, because I appreciate it. Some of you guys were here this morning, and I appreciate it. But I just want to make sure that if you're going after your GED, it's nice to have these videos and these live to come to. But at the same time, what are you doing with the information? Okay, what are we doing with the information? Alright, so we got a few answers. Because if we're just thinking watching me doing problems is going to help you with your next step, that's only part of it. You still need the instruction, because right now you're going to try to remember everything. And you're going to try to memorize it, and that's not going to work. You can try to fool me all you want. You can't. 22 years in this whole business, right? Really 28 if I count everything all together. That you try to memorize, and then when it's time for you to take the test, you're taking it against the clock, you're taking it in a room that you're not that comfortable with, so you got a lot of things going against you, plus you're adding some pressure onto yourself to pass the test. You're like, I gotta pass, I gotta pass, I gotta pass, gotta pass. And guess what? Every time you do that, you're not going to pass. You're not going to pass. Because you keep telling yourself, I got to pass. But you need to practice, but you need the initial instruction. Okay? So I see a lot of great answers. I see a lot of simplified answers. I see a lot of some that is just kind of go to that. Okay? All right? And then, of course, we have some rude people that are saying just go to the answer. Well, you know what? I'm not doing it. Block that. There we go. Enough said. Okay? So, my whole thing is we're going to break things down. We have the same base. When we have the same base, we are doing, there's a fraction bar, we're subtracting the exponents. But this time, when you subtract, you have 3 minus 5. Because remember, it's always the exponent of the numerator minus the exponent of the denominator. Okay? So that means you have 3 minus 5. And 3 minus 5, that gives you a negative 2. What do we know about negative exponents? Okay? But we got to be careful, JB. Yes, you can practice, but you can practice wrong. Okay? You got to know what you're talking about in order for you to put the prompts in AI to generate a test for you. You have to know what's going to come out. And if you don't know what's going to come out, you're just going to take whatever ventures out, and you don't know if it's right or wrong. That's the part. Okay? How did I get a negative 2? What's 3 minus 5? So if you have $3 and you find something that you want to buy and it costs $5, that means you're short $2. Okay? Stop stealing. Just kidding. All right. All right. So, negative imaginary numbers. Okay. So if it's negative square roots, yes, I agree with that. Okay. And it will give you the 1/16. Okay. Now, here's my thing. When you have a negative exponent, they never want you to have a negative exponent. So what's happening is you need to take this whole expression, since it's right now, it's above. Anytime you see a whole number, it's always over 1. So what's happening is you need to drop it in the denominator so it could be a positive exponent. Anytime you have a negative exponent, that means you're making this base into what's called a fraction. You're making it smaller. Okay? You're making it smaller. Okay? Hey, Charlotte. How'd you do? How'd you finish up? Okay? So this is how people are getting 1/16. You have your 1 over 4 times 4. Now 4 times 4 will give you 16. Okay? What? You're confused. Obviously you're confused. You just got here. So you got your 1/16. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is almost that expanded form. If we have 4 3s, 3 4s, there we go, in the numerator to represent 4/3, and you have 5 4s in the denominator, if I cancel out, what's happening up here? Because these are going to be 1s. 1 times 1 times 1, that gives us 1. 1 times 1 times 1 gives us 1, but we still have 4 times 4. And what's 4 times 4? 16. Okay? So we can look at the exponents if we want to do the extended form, or knowing that you're going to subtract. Ready? Slight shortcut. Knowing that you're going to subtract, instead of writing out 4 raised to the negative 2, just immediately put it as 1 over 4 squared. because the 2 that is going to be left is going to be in the denominator because 5 is larger than 3. Okay. All right. I know some people like the expanded form, some people don't. Hello, Miss Lewis. How are you? Okay. The expanded method, not a problem because you get to see it, especially when you haven't done it in a long time. The -2 blew your mind? Yes. But this is what happens. If they come up and they say, what is, I don't know, 3 to the -5th? Let's make it 6. If this says 3 to the -6, just plain like this, -18 is going to be one of your options. And that option is incorrect. This 6 is not the same size as the 3. So you can't say -16. When you see a negative and an exponent like that, you should be looking for something with fractions. Okay? When you see a whole number and it's raised by a negative exponent, you should be looking for a fraction. Okay? Alright? So now, if they gave us a fraction, so I'm looking at this one right here. Okay? If they give me a fraction and my exponent is a -2, what do I do? I'm looking at this part right here. That's the one I'm looking at. So you won't have to worry. Okay, happiness, I see you. Okay. McTom, message me after this. I got you. John squared, yep. Actually, exponents. Okay, Nusa, I see you. Okay. Is it ever used for it? You probably used it like 3 times today. Alright. Okay. Yes. With the -2. Yes. Thank you, Angus. Alright. So, this is what happens when you have a whole number being raised to a negative exponent. You basically make it into a fraction. When you have a fraction being raised with a negative exponent, you gotta flip it. So that means this is actually going to be 2/1. And it's going to be a positive 2. Yes. Hell yes. Okay? So when you have a negative exponent, you gotta flip it. Thank you, T-squared. I see you. So you have to flip it in order to make it positive. So now you just have 2 raised to the 2nd power, which gives you 4. 4/1 is the same as saying 4. Okay, it can be simplified to 4. Yes, happiness. There you go. Sari, yes. Good. Alright? The negative exponents is what gets you guys. Knowing when to add or when to multiply your exponents always gets students. Always. Okay? So knowing the difference, when to raise a power to a power and when to add the exponents. Alright? Let's try a couple more. This one, I'm dying to know your answer. It's not too mind-blowing, but I am very curious of your answer. Okay, well, I can't stop my live to get you the books now. Okay? You're going to have to wait until after my live. I'm so sorry. And I don't like to give my number out anymore because I've had too many death threats lately. So I'm a little on edge. I'm a little tired of people calling me the N word, and I said shut my mouth and just give my books out for free. Or your books are only worth $1, N word, because that's how much you're worth. So I will not be giving out my number. Okay? Office number, personal number, not doing it. Just gonna have to wait until after the live. I'm so sorry. Yes, and do I go to TikTok and say, hey, I'm getting death threats here. Here's a copy of the thing. And what do they say? There's nothing wrong with it. So, yeah, I'm a little on edge right now. But I'm not at a 10, which is good. Okay? All right. Yeah. So it kind of tells me that I'm close to doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Because if this wasn't good, I don't think this would ever happen. Okay? Alright. I will. Just message me after this and we're going to do that. Okay? Alright. So, I got a combinations of 1s, X's, 4s, and 0s. Okay? Thank you, Emma. Appreciate it. Yes. Oh, you think it's 1? Okay. Infinity is another one. Alright. Okay. Multiply answers because x is 0, it's 0. But if anything else, it's 1. Okay, William. Okay. 1 in a million. That's cute. Thank you for your honesty with the question mark. Alright. So, this is why I do these flashcards. The exact reason why I do them. Because a lot of people, and I want to say probably like a good 82% of students will get this wrong initially. Because when they think anything raised to 0 power or anything times 0 is 0, right? Anything times 0 is 0. We got that. You multiply by 0, boom, it's 0. Use a 0 divided by a number, boom, it's 0. But now we're talking about the exponent. Okay? We're talking about the exponent. So if you look at Fibonacci's numbers, remember those things where you got the 1, the 1, the 1, right? And then you got the 1, the 2, the 1, and then the 1, the 3, the 3, the 1. Okay? We always start with something. You know what we started with? We started with 1. There is a higher power that created all of this, and what we do, we just keep multiplying. So that means anything, and notice the whole thing of 4x is raised to 0 power, it always equals 1. Yup, the golden section. There you go. Alright. Okay. Alright. So anything going with the process. So this is why I teach these things. I teach these things because I'd rather you get into a situation when you're trying to maybe get a promotion, I don't know. I'd rather you get into a situation and say, oh, I've seen this before, versus what the hell is that? I don't want you to have that dumbfounded look on your face like you've never seen it before. In order for you to get through some doors, sometimes you have to know certain things. Okay? I don't know what kind of math or what kind of career you're going to go into. I have no idea. But I'd rather teach every much of math as I can possible so you can actually be successful. That's what I want to do. Okay? Even if this x wasn't here, it's still going to be 1. Okay? This x is not multiplication. That's what's screwing a lot of people up with elementary math. We are no longer, when you get into algebra, you are no longer using x as multiplication. X is a variable. It's supposed to represent possible number to make this equation true. Okay, so anything to the power of 0 is 1. No discussion. Okay, 4x raised to 1 is equal to 1? No. Okay? If you have 4x raised to the first power, that's equal to 4x. Anything raised to the first power is itself. Okay? Anything raised to the 0 power is 1. Alright? Thank you, Kai. Okay. We good? If x is 0 power, it's not. If x is raised to the 0 power, that's equal to 1. Okay? Awesome. Alright? That's the one that tricks a lot of people up. A lot of people up. Alright, so let's shoot for one more, and then we are finito for today. So like I said, all these cards I have created. Okay? I have created a whole bunch of cards. I have created a bunch of books. I've created everything. Everything that I'm using here. Okay? Give this one a try. Okay? This is a little more challenging, but doable. So you're saying, Cam, if x equals 1, that's a completely different world, dear heart. You're telling me the identity of x. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about exponents. So if x equals 0, that's what x is for that particular moment. Okay? Needs help with this math this past year, and I have no idea how to help him thanks to this. No problem. Okay? So I have this. I have books if they need that. I have these flashcards for sale if you need that. If you need to take a look at the replays, because since this morning's was way long, almost 2 hours, you can go to my YT channel, just type in Math by Audrey, and subscribe to that. Okay. Am I going live tomorrow? Yes. Yes. Because I'm trying as best I can to have a lot of these products ready for you. Okay, so 1 over 3y to the 20th. Okay. So we have 16 over 81y squares, Anusa. Thank you. Let me double check to see if I might have skipped over some people. You're helping out not only kids but us parents. Oh yeah, I know. Oh, I know. And especially when the school year gets started, you're like, okay, this works, but my child needs help with this, or you're doing a lot of geometry. That's when I usually get people for me for tutoring. Okay. Alright. So let me say, it's Big Al is saying 1 over 81y to the 20th, or I mean 3y to the 20th. Geometry. I know. Okay, you're stumped. Thank you, Healed Homemaker. Thank you for your honesty. I'm going to break it down in a moment. Okay. So proof that the answer is a fact. There's no proof that answer is a fact. What are you talking about? D-mechanic, what are we talking about? Okay. Simplifying. Okay. Alright. Yeah, I didn't miss engineering school. Yeah, no one usually does. That's alright. Okay. Of African work. That's just a European duplicate of African work. Okay. So D-mechanic, what are you talking about? Alright, do you have to add the exponents or subtract? Okay. Thank you, Brainwrecker. Alright. Let's take a look. You're trying to look at this whole entire thing. If you notice inside the parenthesis, okay, even if I was going to do, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, inside the parenthesis, you always take a look to see if you can simplify. Well, this has a 2, that has a 3. They're unlike. Can't touch anything. That's an x, that's a y. Can't really technically touch anything. But this x to the 0 power, we probably could simplify that, couldn't we? because anything raised to the 0 power is equal to 1. Notice it's not a parenthesis 2x raised to the 0 power. Just the x is being raised to the 0 power. So that means inside this parenthesis it's going to look like this. Your numerator is just going to be the 2 because x to the 0 power is equal to 1, and 2 times 1 gives me 2. Your denominator is going to stay the same, 3y to the 5th. And this whole expression is being raised to the 4th. Alright, are we okay so far? Yep. X raised to the 0 power, anything raised to the 0 power is just 1. And only the x in this situation is being raised to the 0 power. Not the 2x, just the x. Okay, you see this. Now, we're raising everything inside that parenthesis. Let me slide this over to the 4th power. So that means the 2 is going to be raised to the 4th power. The 3 is going to be raised to the 4th power. And the y is being raised to the 4th power. Okay, are we okay so far? Give me a thumbs up or a yes so I can move on. Okay, so happiness, I see you. Big Al, I see you. Thank you. Ooh, what's that? Thank you, Healed. Okay, Healed Homemaker. I'm just going to call you Healed. Thank you, Brain Wrecked. Okay, thank you, Bluey. All right, happiness, yes. Okay. All right, living life, yes. So now, 2 to the 4th power. It is not 2 times 4. It's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay? So if I write it up here, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2, we can group those two together. That will give me 4. 4 times 4 will give me 16. Okay. That will give me 16. Alright, so this is for algebra, especially getting ourselves ready for GED, ASVAB, and also algebra reviews. Okay. Now, my denominator, 3 to the 4th power. So 3 to the 4th power, that's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And 3 times 3, that gives me 9 for both of them. So 9 times 9, that's 81. So we got 81 from the 3 to the 4th power. Okay. Now, we need to work on that y to the 5th raised to the 4th. And someone asked me earlier, should we multiply or add? What do you guys think? Put it in the chat. Should we multiply? And if you're wondering what I'm talking about this part right here, the highlighted part. Should I multiply the exponents or add them? Who's saying hello? Hey, T-Tone or T-Lone, how are you? Okay, so I'm seeing multiply, 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 add. Alright. Okay, I see an add, I see an add, I see an add, I see multiply. With John, multiply with rec, multiply, I see an add with multiply. We got 5 in the brackets, got multiply, we got add. Okay, so it's starting to get even. We got multiply, alright. What's the next division? Is it, not sure, we got add. Alright, so we have an exponent being raised by an exponent. If they're being separated by a parenthesis, you're multiplying those exponents. Okay, so what's actually going to be here is going to be y to the 20th power. If I have it written, let me show you. My base is y to the 5th. Let me put it in a different color so you can see it. So I have y to the 5th times y to the 5th times y to the 5th, and I'm writing this out 4 times. Okay? Y to the 5th multiplying itself 4 times. So when you see it expanded like this is when you're adding the exponents. 5, 10, 15, 20. But when you see it condensed like this, you're multiplying the exponents. That's how we got our y to the 20th. Okay, do we see it now? Yep, keep the same base. That's the only way we can multiply them or add them together. Well, not add them, but we can multiply them is because they have the same base. Okay. Now I know some people want to simplify. We can simplify if you want, because I know I didn't. Because I was thinking, all right, how are these people going to do it? So this was the original question right here. And what I did was flip it right here. Okay. Because if you tried to simplify it, what does 6 and 81 have in common other than 1? Okay. So here you are multiplying the exponents. When you have a power being raised to a power, you multiply the exponents. If you write it out as extended form, you add the exponents. Okay. So they don't have 2 in common. And they don't have 4 in common. You know why? 81 is an odd number. So it's not going to be divisible by 2 or 4. It's not going to be divisible by the same number as an even number. Can't be 3 because 3 is not divisible by 16. Yeah, I know. It's tricky. It has to go for both of the numbers, not just one or the other. Okay? And it's not going to be 8. 8 only works for the 16. 8 doesn't work for the 81. You're going to get a decimal. Okay? I know. It's really tricky because you can, and this is what I mean. I'm not trying to be an itch. I'm really not. But this is why I say you can teach yourself incorrectly. You can practice, but you can practice incorrectly. Especially if you don't have someone to tweak that to stop your thinking, you're going to keep going. So exactly, happiness. There you go. This is the simplified. That is completely simplified. That's the lowest it can go. Okay? I do this because now, if you like these, and these are not the only cards that I have, I'm just going to wrap up because, yeah, it's been a day. It has been a day. Okay? So I have a whole stack of these. All these cards. And if you want to have your own cards, okay, I have a whole entire system. Okay, let me show you where you can go. So if you go, into my profile, and in my profile there is a link. It's called Stand Store. So even follow the little finger. If you click on that link, it will take you directly to my Stand Store. So again, stop guessing, start understanding math. Now, if you want to know where to start, if you want, you can go for this free skills chat just to see where you are mathematically. Okay? But if you are interested, I have a lot of things, the systems. If you're like, yeah, I definitely need to know and understand. but I have a whole bunch of systems that you can check out. I have my individual algebra at your pace. So if you want to learn more concepts like fractions and decimals and square roots and factoring and finding the equation of the line, finding slope, all of those things are listed here for my algebra at your pace. And then if you're looking for some place to go to practice and do a practice test, because guys, you need to practice the way you're going to assess. That means sitting at a table. That means with a timer, not with an answer key around you, and you're trying to solve the problems within a certain time frame. So you can get used to what is the timing, how long is it going to take, all that stuff. So you can have those with, if you want the video solutions to those, you can get that as well. But then this is where it comes from. Exponent right here. So simplifying, if you want to get the whole entire book, okay, so you get everything, the product rule, the quotient rule, the power rule, the negative exponent that we talked about, the zero exponents, okay, all of the things that you will see, you will get a digital. All this is a digital ebook copy. It will go directly to your email, okay, directly to you. You don't have to worry about it. This book is not, and I repeat, is not available on the A. So if you just want the exponents, you have to order it through me. Okay, so this is how you will order it. Put your information in, bada boom, bada bing, it goes right to your email. Okay, yes, I do, Carol, I do. Just hit Math by Audrey. Okay, so all of these are available. Okay, so even if you want to, let me slide this over, even if you want to do solving cards, okay, solving equations, evaluating equations, simplifying equations. So if you want cards like this, you can actually get it. It's all in one book. Let me show you. Okay, it's inside of this book. This is on the A. Okay, you can get it on the A, and you can also get a digital copy of it. So what happens is you're going to go inside and you have tons of evaluating. Let me move all the way to the back. But it's a matching card. So you have answers, but then here you go, simplifying. That's order of operations. So you can do that practice. And you always are given answer keys. Then the next one, you got your answers for solving. So here you got some solving cards. There's 4 cards to a page, and there's roughly 7 pages for each section. Alright? And then you come up with the solutions, and now you got the evaluation piece. So if you need all of this, this is what you got to do. Good morning. Yes. It's been a good morning for Math Refreshers. Explained it so simply. Yes, no problem, happiness. Okay? So you have all these things readily available. So it's up to you. Now, if you're also looking for, which I'm going to do a lot more of this for tomorrow, this. How do I write this? How do I write that as an algebraic? No problem, Big Al. Thank you. Thank you for being a good supporter. How would I write this? Put this in the chat. How would I write this as an algebraic expression? Not equation, because there's no equals in there. How would you write that as an algebraic expression? Put it in the chat. Definitely want more than 50% participation with this. If you don't know, put a question mark. Okay? If you're not sure, put a question mark. Okay, I'm living my life, saying n minus 8. Okay, these are the things that we need to understand. So there's no escaping this. Okay, Big Al, n minus 8. Okay, Brenda, x minus 8. I need 2 more. 2 more. Okay, Miss Lewis, n minus 8. Need 1 more, and then we're good to go. Give it a try. Okay. John, I knew you were going to do it. Okay, he said n minus 8, Mel 8 minus x, sweet k, x equals 8. Okay, so since we have decreased by, decreased, that means you are lowering. So that is going to give you subtraction. But what is it? A number, which we don't know. It could be x, it could be n, it could be anything. Decreased by 8. So we're not switching it. It is just simply n minus 8. The only time that you're going to switch, there's no equals, so standard boss, get rid of the equals y. There's no equals. It didn't say anything about equals. It didn't say is, equals, equivalent to, equal to. It didn't say any of that. Okay? So the only time that it switches for it to be a negative or for it to be this minus this is when it says less than. The n stands for number. Number begins with an n. So I just use n. You can use x. It's okay. Alright? Okay? This is something that we're actually going to be working on a little bit tomorrow as well. Alright? So, I will be... Did you get it, Darwin? N stands for my unknown number. It could be n, it could be x, it could be any letter of the alphabet except for I and E. Because both I and E's are numbers. Alright. Okay. Alright. So these are the things that I put in here. Everything that you see is all inside my stand store for a purchase. Okay? So where those come in when it came to the mastery, like all the flashcards for that, that's this one. That's what the solving, the order of operations, and the evaluating. Okay? If you have trouble with multiplying, I took it a step further. I made them into integers. One's positive, one's negative, or both of them are negative. So you get used to seeing the signage of that. Did that with multiplication as well as division. Alright, not a problem, Miss Lewis. Okay, sorry I told you about that. Then you have your formula cards. And sorry, I went past the other one. And then here's that verbal to algebraic. Okay, definitely a nice thick stack. Okay, so wherever you need, here's my thing. If you're not sure, definitely take a look at the freebie. Okay, the freebie, it will give you an idea of where you're at. If you look at it, you're like, I don't know any of this and I don't know where to start, then you really should start at my starter system. Okay? So you can say, hey, I can get free stuff online. Alright, but there's a reason why you're on this live. There's a reason why you were participating and taking notes. Because whatever you were getting before, you weren't getting. Now you see that you're getting what you're missing. Alright? If you do have any questions before any kind of purchases, please go ahead and go to my profile. Let me talk to you like a human being. Okay? All you have to do is just go to my profile pic, click on it a couple times, and send me a message. Don't just send me hi because I'm going to erase it. Okay? That's how all my scammers start out of conversations. So I'm just putting it all together. So tell me, what test are you taking? How many times you taken it? You know, what did you like about today's session? What did you not like about today's session? Okay? I know you want more, but guess what? I'm not going to give you more because I have put everything that you want together inside of a book. Algebra at your pace. Okay? Now, if you want to ask more questions about the algebra at your pace, ask more questions about any of my flashcards, please go right ahead. Okay, so the ebooks are what's in my stand store. If you want physical books, am I saying this and clear and is being recorded? If you want physical books, you're going to have to go to the A. I do have a link for that. Scroll all the way to the bottom and you will see physical books on the A. Okay, and you'll know what the A is once you see that link. All right, any questions? Okay, any questions? So we actually did some cleaning up with exponents. Thank you, Big Al. I know, it drives me nuts. Like, I can't just speak freely. It makes me crazy. But hey, whatever. All right. Hey, Queen. All right. Any questions? This would be the perfect time. Hey, Lynn Squared. How are you? Okay. So I will be on tomorrow morning and probably around the same time tomorrow afternoon at like 4:15. Okay. So come in, ask questions, learn a bit. If you need my YT, let me put it into the chat again. Make sure you not only just sit and watch, subscribe. Okay, subscribe, look at whatever videos you want to look at. But if you need consistency, if you want to get a nice even flow so you're not like, what was this, what was that, what was that, what was that, and something that you can push play, you can pause, you can rewind. What did she just say? You can rewind and actually hear exactly what you just heard instead of like, I think it was this, because sometimes I start talking. All right? Degrees on the wall? Yes, it are. Worked hard for them. Every single one. First one is bachelor's, second one is master's. Yep. Blood, sweat, and tears. That's all I can tell you. Okay. That was a good question. Okay. Master's in what? In teaching. Master's in the art of teaching and leadership. UMBC. Yeah. But it's funny, like how you're working hard to become a teacher. What's the charge for tutoring, or do I have to inbox me? Inbox me. Okay, inbox me. Because maybe what you need is not so much the tutoring, it might be the books. Because a lot of people say, oh, I want tutoring, and then all of a sudden, like, well, I'm going to be out of town for a couple weeks, and then I'm going to come back, and you're all over the place. You need something that's going to adjust to your lifestyle. Because when I have my tutoring sessions, I have it at certain times. So I do not want to be tutoring at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I do that during the school year because a lot of my, especially student athletes, they have games, they have this, they have that. They're doing travel teams, and I get it because I used to play basketball. I used to play a little bit of volleyball for a little bit, but basketball was my thing. And I played pro, so I know what it means by having one of those crazy schedules. So, and especially if someone's in, well, I don't know, California, and I'm all the way in Maryland, that's a time zone thing. So 7 o'clock in the evening for them is 10 o'clock in the evening for me. Guess what? I'm tutoring sometimes 10, 11 o'clock at night. And there's been a couple times I've done 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning. Hi, my name is Audrey Codner, and I'm an addict. I want everything to be good. All right. Okay, good. Why should you do the math? Why should you do the math? Yeah, you could just not do the math. That's perfectly fine. You make a choice. If you don't want to do math, you don't do math. I don't know how you're going to get paid. I don't know how you're going to keep a budget. I don't know how you're going to live. How you know that you're getting enough nutrients in your body. How do you know what time of day it is? Because everything we do is nothing but math. And because we have the things that we have, paper, material, products, glasses, frames, prescriptions, hair buns, all that stuff. The reason why we have all that is because of mathematics. The designs, the things that you're like, oh, that's so cool. That's math. Hey. I have an addiction. All right. Anything else? All right, so if you want me, if you want some assistance with your GED, and this is why I'm going to name the same thing like tomorrow. Enough with the excuses. Learn the math. That's it. That's all you got to do. You learn the math, so then when you see it on a test, you're going to be like, man, this test is really easy. All right, I'm scared. And you're going to hear my voice. Don't be scared. Keep moving. Because once you start pausing and like, well, I think the answer, you're overthinking. What's your instinct telling you? What did you learn? Oh, I learned that if I have a negative exponent, I should be looking for a fraction if the base is a whole number. Yep. Okay. Oh, the only one that has a fraction as my base is this. Oh, that's my answer. Click it, bubble it, move on. Okay. Standardized test. It's a way of separating the haves and the have-nots. If you haven't figured that out by now, here it is. Because I know there's going to be word problems when people are like, I lived in an apartment all my life. I don't know what an attic looks like. So how can I envision that in my mind to do this math problem if I never lived in a house? What is a guy wire? Everyone's like, I don't know what a guy wire is. If you ever see a tree with the wires that are going into the ground, or maybe a light post if you're in the city and it has that wire that's going into the ground, those are guy wires, not guide, guy, G-U-Y, okay? That's what they are. So now you got that vision. Now you can draw yourself a right triangle and figure out what your angle is supposed to be. Difference between the haves and the have-nots. Okay, do I help with SAT? Yes, I do. Very successful in it so far. Do I have a phone addiction too? No, I don't. Nope, I'm not addicted to my phone. Like literally, I can go out without my phone. I'm not of that age, Gen X. We survived. All right. Okay. So, let's get it done. All right, let's stop fooling around. You want to pass it, let's get it done. If you want to refresh, get a little refresher on stuff like that, I would start with the starter pack. If you want to do the practice stuff, because I do have some practice that has a video description or detailed answer key. So you will actually see a video recording of me answering the problems. Okay, so if that floats your boat, that's part of the list. All right, Accuplacer for the tradesmen. Yep, same thing. Especially a lot with slope. They've been doing a lot with slope. What else do you need? If you're talking about the IBEW, yes, I've worked with people doing that. Now, if you're talking about, there was some other one that was weird. Someone was trying to show me something. It had like paper folding, and I'm like, yeah, that's not me. Paper folding, you just need to sit your butt down and practice. Okay. I forgot which test was that. Hey, Will, how are you? Okay. All right, that's it. We're good? Okay. If you do have any other questions, go ahead and just go to the profile, send me a message. I'm going to check my messages in the next 10 minutes. But I think that's about it. All right. Well, have a lovely evening, and I will see you guys mañana, tomorrow.